these are studies that I have found in hospitals, psych wards, clinics, and life after death and passings. So when I come across the documentation of given and provided from my reality and my USA government, it states that to be on Social Security disability for mental illness, it says until you pass, pretty much, that you will be receiving this amount until you pass. What does it mean by pass? So there are actually, these are what I found in the psych ward. So as a mental psych ward patient, it's almost like an episode of not an outbreak, but it's an episode of awakening. And for many entities and people that are awakened, it's medications like these that make me start to wonder. So, okay, Dawn. National Geographic at dawn. What clue does that say if it doesn't say vampires or species that will be there awakening at dawn? And along with other meds that could be symbolically, like, okay, I was taking metformin because I have an ovary issue as well due to too much intake of other meds, and so it caused like some sort of ovary imbalance, not ovary, hormone imbalance. So after my intake of metformin, my body needed it. It's not something to play around with. And what I wanted to say was, after I got off the meds, I had met someone that looked similar and familiar, and possibly someone else's family member. However, he met me for 1 exact minute, as it felt, and he had asked who I slept with. And these descriptions of wordings were not clear to me, because in my reality, in my mind at that time, like, oh, he appeared looking like a god. He was smoky, he was energy, and he looked amazing. And I failed to question if he was suffering without actual skin and things like that. But he just looked completely amazing. And in my thoughts, I just believe that he had extremely strong reading senses, since he didn't have the true skin touch ability. So I mean, in my thoughts, I thought he was like extremely strong in that perspective. And I just mentioned, oh, I slept with Jacob, but what occurred after was really confusing, to where I wonder if he thought Jacob was a person, like a father to my pregnancy in 2012. And how he knew, I don't know. It was very strange, because after a post on Facebook that a friend of mine posted, he posted Belle of Acton. And out of nowhere, it was almost like I was surrounded by a bunch of like what seemed like beastly big people. And from then on, the story came about. So he probably thought to himself that I got pregnant by some sort of beast, and he probably thought Jacob was some sort of beast. Everything found in the universe, everything found in realities, must all kind of make sense somehow. I mean, in an artistic way, or in a scientific way, or any creation, any design has to make sense and has to be worthy of some sort. It just can't be like something to pass by and say, oh, that abstract art is just abstract for realistic or whatever. But I mean, the abstract part of it is emotions, it's personality, it's color, it's every single thing. So I mean, when you see something and it seems one way, to be completely closed-minded, maybe living life that way is better. But for me, when I had my awakening, and opening. It was way too much to absorb, actually, in the beginning. It was it would have been nice if it was constant positivity, but it was almost like I was surrounded by entities and people that I couldn't see that were completely attacking me from my successful passings. And one day when I was on Latuda, I believe this to be a angel medication. I got tons of threats and tons of attacks if I didn't, one, exercise, if I didn't cook, if I didn't act like a complete angel, if I didn't quit smoking, if I didn't do any of those, I would get negative reinforcements. It was almost like they were like hitting the devil part inside of me to claim that I needed to be some sort of angel instead. And that was a really difficult way to go about it. So if you're asleep and you're on medication, or if you're unaware of all these invisibles around you, maybe the passing, maybe the success of passing to be who you are, or to be in the next life as someone, is possibly really easier, maybe, if people didn't feel or hear or get threats that hurts and mental abuse upon the passings. And for me, it's not just any type of passing. Like, I've been like this way for a very long time, actually, and never once have I made it in a great passing or a great successful passing. So I mean, it's on and off, it comes on and off, it's not waves, it's more of like long times and periods of frames until an episode occurs. So it is not, I'm not going to say it's mental abuse, I'm not going to say it's all these things that occurred. I'm just saying it happens to people, and sure enough, you might be sitting around and just saying you have a headache, but if you're awake and you're alert, that headache is not a headache. That headache is actually some sort of, I need to be awake and awaken and maybe have some sort of power, or some sort of moving to become a better version of myself. If anybody can understand any of this, of what I'm saying.